Good afternoon, Year 1, and welcome to our 5th lesson in outdoor learning this half term. I can't believe how quickly this term is going. Right, I'm going to share my screen and we can get started. Whilst I'm doing that, I want you to see if you can remember what we were looking at last week. Fantastic, well done. So far this half term we've been looking at vertebrates, which you know are animals with backbones, and we started off by looking at birds, then we looked at mammals, and last week we looked at reptiles. There are 2 groups of vertebrates that we haven't looked at yet. I'm going to give you 20 seconds to have a think and see if you know what they are. You can use the pictures to help you. Excellent, Year 1. One of the groups that we haven't looked at yet are amphibians. And you can see some amphibians there. I wonder whether you can see what animals go in the amphibian group. Got the frog. Excellent if you got that. And we've got a salamander. I wonder whether you've heard of a salamander. So, all amphibians have thin, moist skin. They are cold-blooded. And the most special thing about amphibians is that they can live on land and in water. And they usually lay their eggs in the water. Right, I'm going to show you a quick video now, a little bit, which shows you a little bit about amphibians.
Amphibians are amphibious. This means they're quite happy on land and water. Nearly all amphibians lay eggs, usually in or near water. When amphibians hatch, they have gills, which means they can breathe underwater. As they get older, they develop lungs. This means they now breathe air, like us. Most have 4 legs, but there are a few with no legs. They have smooth skin. Amphibians are cold-blooded, which means they become the same temperature as their surroundings. So when it's hot, they're hot. And when it's not, they'll hibernate for the winter.
Excellent, Year 1. The other animal we haven't looked at yet are fish. There's a clownfish. You might recognise that from a Disney film. So, as you probably know, fish live in water. They have fins instead of legs and gills instead of lungs, and they all have scales. They also lay eggs in the water. Again, I'm going to show you a quick video about what makes a fish a fish.
Fish come in so many different shapes and sizes. How can we tell what is actually a fish? For a start, fish don't have legs, and they live in water. Also, they don't breathe air. They have gills that allow them to breathe underwater. Surprisingly, most fish lay eggs. Not hard like a chicken, but soft. And lots of them. Fish all have scales, even when they're newborn and tiny. But even though they may be small to start with, they can grow to be huge. No matter how big some fish may think they are, don't forget, sharks are also fish. Ooh!
I hope you enjoyed those videos, Year 1. This is our activity for today. I'd like you to draw a detailed scientific drawing of a fish and an amphibian. And I'd like you to label or describe the key features of each of these two types of animals. So here we are, I've got an amphibian, and you can draw a frog or something like a salamander, and you can label all the different bits of that animal. So for example, you can see that I have labelled that amphibians have thin, moist skin. The other thing I might do is I might draw my frog near some water so that I can show that amphibians live on the land or in water. And I might also draw some eggs in the water so that I can label that amphibians lay their eggs in the water. Here's my fish, and I've got the 4 key facts on the right hand side, so that fish have scales, they live in the water, they have gills, and they lay eggs in the water. And as you can see, I've drawn a picture of a fish and I have labelled the different parts. So, the other thing that you could do is you could use things in your house, or if you're able to with an adult, go outside and find some natural materials and create your fish and your amphibian that way. This is what I've decided to do. I'm going to use stones to represent the fish's scales. So I'm putting on my scales now. There we go. So there's some scales. I think I'll also try and find some smaller rocks to represent my scales over here. I've then used some twigs over here, and they're going to be 3 lines of twigs. Can anyone think what part of the fish that might be? Well done if you guessed that that was the gills. That is how the fish breathes underwater. So those 3 sticks are representing the gills of my fish. And then I found some teeny tiny pine needles, and I'm going to put those on my fins over there. Finally, what I'm going to do is I'm going to label all of my parts of my fish. So I'm going to do a label here, and then I'm going to write a little sentence that starts with a capital letter, and it's going to say, fish have scales. Full stop. And then I'm going to go over here with my ruler and my pencil, and I'm going to label my gills, and I'm going to write another sentence that says fish have gills. So this is another way to present your work. So you can either just draw it, or you can use things around your house or natural materials like I have done to create your fish and your amphibian. Right, Year 1, I'm very, very excited to see your work uploaded on Seesaw, and I will see you next week. Bye!